Hello and welcome back to the MLB DFS Slate Breakdown for Tuesday, August 6th. We're here. We're going to be breaking it down. We got a big slate to go over and some major weather concerns in New York. Very good chance that game does not play today, but we don't really know until it comes down to the slate time or we get an early PPD. Now, we got a lot to go over, so we're going to get right into it. But before we do, come join us at LineStar. So many different ways to try us out. You can go to the app stores. 7 days free trial if you've never used that through either iOS or Android app stores. We have these promo offers right down there on our pricing page. Parlay Play, Sleeper, Underdog, Chalkboard. All of them you can get 1 month free of LineStar if you're a new customer to them. All you got to do, use our link, promo code LineStar for all of them, deposit at least $10, play a little bit, and they're good to go. One subscription gets you access to everything on our platform. So come join us, get involved, let's go. Now we're going to start off by going over yesterday's perfect lineups and then the winning lineups, followed by some good old-fashioned breakdown of this slate. High-owned pitchers, pivots, and some stacks. All right, so on to FanDuel. Our perfect lineup, the pitcher went to David Festa. So this was a really interesting one. Yesterday, I literally said he's probably not going 5 innings, and therefore I'm not playing him. Not going over 5 innings, so I'm not playing him. But the man put up 9 Ks in 5 innings, only went 82 pitches, didn't allow a run, just had an absolute great game. And unfortunately, I had none of them. That quality start is such a huge thing generally on these slates that, I took him out because of that. And unfortunately, it was a little short-sighted yesterday as he was absolutely the best pitcher. But hey, it happens sometimes. Then hitting-wise, 2 Clevelands, 2 Boston, 2 Cincinnati. Then we got Ohtani and Chapman to round it out as our perfect lineup. Then our winning lineup went to Corey Hutt, who won 20K, who had JP Sears. I was all on board of the JP Sears train. I did not like the ownership that he ended up coming in at, but he got it done. He did enough. Lineup-wise, we had a 4-man Cincinnati stack and then 4 one-offs. Josh Bell got it done. Jose Ramirez got it done. Tyler Fitzgerald has just been absolutely crushing, and Masataka Yoshida to round it out. So congrats to them. Let's get on to DraftKings, where we had David Festa and JP Sears as the 2 pitchers, along with the 3-man Cleveland stack, 2-man Cincinnati, then some one-offs with Ohtani, Margot, and Yoshida. And the winning lineup went to Danny C. 45, who barely edged out I Like Rice and Guac for first place. He had Festa. He had Andrew Heaney. Heaney was a guy that we talked about a little bit for SP2 on DK, and he did just enough at his cheap price. Then the lineup went to a 5-man Cincinnati stack, 2-man Arizona, with a one-off of Ohtani. So 5-2-1 lineup construction again. That lineup construction just continues to print for people on DraftKings. So congrats to them, and let's get on to today's slate. Let's break it down. I think this slate is pretty interesting. So it is a Colorado slate, first one we've had in a while, and I got to talk about the weather here. It is high 80s, wind blowing out at double digits. It is primo hitting weather in Chicago. Meanwhile, in Wrigley, we have primo pitching weather. It's like 20-mile-an-hour winds coming in, and that ballpark is affected by winds more than any other ballpark in the league. So these winds blowing in definitely going to knock the ball down a little bit. And then the big trouble spot weather-wise we have is the Angels at Yankees. There is major chance this game is not going to play. We still have to try and cover it here because, who knows what is going to go on, but there are storms all over the place. It does look like there potentially is a window to play, but storms before the game, storms after, possible storms during the game. There is a chance they could just PPD this game early. Of course, we don't really know until it comes down to it. All right, so highest owned, we got Sonny Gray at 21% versus the Tampa Bay Rays. Rays versus righties just haven't really been very good over the last 20 games. They are hitting the ball hard with a 175 ISO, but low WOBA, low average. Sonny Gray has been just amazing all year round. I don't mind going to him whatsoever. Also, a good note is that he's been getting into the 90s and 100 pitches in games lately instead of that 86 that he's been at for the last 20. So little more upside. He's averaging 44% more fantasy points while at home. I like the spot quite a lot for Sonny Gray. I don't mind going there. Ownership's a bit high, but on this big of a slate, it shouldn't matter that much. Luis Gil, 8,700 minder, big time weather issues here. So if you want to play Gil, you're really going to have to look at the weather before this game starts. But hey, he's been really good all year. Huge upside in the matchup. Angels strike out a lot. He has a solid K rate. I love the spot for him if there's no weather issues, which is a big if right now. Pablo Lopez, 8K. I cannot believe he is only 8K. Winds are blowing in hard. I love this spot for Pablo Lopez. Definitely willing to get to some of them. 3.85 FIP over his last 20, 3.25 over his last 5. Almost a 29% K rate over his last 20, 26.4 over his last 5. I think this is a great spot for him. We have him at 2.6x, which is a huge rating. He's almost a lock for 20s. He gets 20s repeatedly. He's been pitching well lately. There is solid K upside. I like the spot, and I'm actually surprised he's the third highest owned pitcher and not one of the higher pitchers at his price point. Next, we got Luis Castillo. This is another spot that I really, really like. We have quite a few pitchers to choose from. So I think ownerships may get spread out a little bit more pitching-wise than they normally do. And I'm here for it because I think there's a lot of good options. Castillo, I absolutely think is one of the better options. Not only is he better at home, he's versus the Tigers, who are just a meh or below average offense. And I love this spot for Castillo. He has high upside. He can get you those 30s at 8,200. We have him at 2.3x, 5-star alert score. I'm all in on Castillo. I like him a lot. Grayson Rodriguez, he just saw Toronto a couple days ago. He's seen them twice this year. He's put up decent games. I don't mind going here. However, I don't absolutely love it either. I just think that his ceiling chances in this matchup are a little low. Vlad has just been hitting well. Toronto's been decent lately. And he just has very few 30-plus games. And I think this is going to be a very hard one for him to get 30-plus. Now, we do like him a lot. We got him at 2.6x. He's coming a little lower owned. He's at 3.5-star alert score. I don't mind having some. I'm not just cut him out my pool, but I'm also not trying to get a ton of him. I do worry about the ceiling chances in this spot. Shota Amanga, I am very interested in. All right, so Shota's big issue, he allows way too many fly balls, 59% fly balls. We got wind blowing in at 17 miles an hour. That is going to help the ball stay in the ballpark. And if you look through all of his, his ceiling games, he's not allowing home runs or he's only allowing one home run. Then if you take a look at when he's got, lit up or not given more of a ceiling type performance, he's given away 2-3 home runs. So in this spot, it is a lot less likely for him to give up home runs. Therefore, I think it is more likely he's able to give us a high 20s, maybe a 30-point performance. 9.5, I'm all for it. We got it at 2.1x, 3.5 alert score. We know he has the strikeout upside. And he's going lower owned, so I'm very interested in him. Montero versus the Mariners. Mariners have been hitting a little bit lately. I'm out on Montero. I don't think he's that good. I know he's cheap, and that's the only reason I would absolutely consider him at all. Framber Valdez, 8.4K, 2.2X. So Framber's been pitching great lately. So I love Framber for that. However, the Rangers have been very good versus lefties. Over the last 20 games, 308 average, 137 ISO, 367 WOBA. They've been getting on base and scoring runs. Framber is not quite as good away, averaging 22% less fantasy points away, but he's been really good lately. So I think this is one of those spots where it's really hard. Do you want to go after a solid offense with a good pitcher, or do you want to just stay away? I am fine with him getting into some of my lineups. He is a good enough pitcher that he can do well. Severino in Colorado, I can't. There's too many pitchers today. Bryce Elder, 7,900 versus Brewers. My big worry here for Elder is, one, it is decent hitting weather in Truist Park today. Two, he's allowed a lot of stolen bases. 5 over the last 5 starts, 12 over the last 20. Brewers like to run. I think there's a good chance that they're trying to run on the Braves a little bit in this spot and just manufacturing some runs. Now, Elder does have some nice upside when he gets it going, so it's slightly intriguing, but I'm probably not Elder. Not at 7,900 when we have so many good 8K pitchers. Chris Bassett, 7K, 2.1x. Bassett's a little interesting in this spot. The reason being, look, I know his near-term form has been pretty bad, but 3.88 over his last 20 starts for his FIP, 21% K rate, and we know when he gets it going, he's the guy that ends up with 6, 8Ks, something like that, works 6, 7 innings. Can he do it against Baltimore? Absolutely, but he just absolutely got crushed by them a week ago. So absolutely nobody's going to go here, but at 7K with the ceiling that we know he has, it is tempting, and it's another spot that I'm fine having a couple of. Tyler Mahle, this is his first start in 2024 back from Tommy John, so don't know totally what to expect. His 2.6 or 7.6 K is pretty cheap. We have him at 2.4x. That might be a little high for him. Just first start back. Who knows what's going to happen. Seth Lugo versus Boston. Boston's great versus righties, and that is my only worry here. Lugo's a solid pitcher, though. I don't mind playing some Boston stacks. Kershaw, he went 83 pitches last time out. Got crushed, but at least he went 83. Could, be 90-ish today. But it's a very tough spot. Philadelphia just crushes lefties. And Chris Sanchez versus the Dodgers. Sanchez is way better at home than he is away. 100% less fantasy points away. Not really feeling Sanchez in this spot, especially when Philadelphia as a whole is on a slide. Colin Ray has been pitching very well lately and goes into Atlanta. It is a tough spot for him, but I don't mind some value Ray if you want to go there, just on really how good he's been over his last 5-8 appearances or so. I want to touch on Kyle Freeland for the reason of the Mets are going to be a spot where a lot of teams want to go, or a lot of players want to go with stacks today. So, great hitting weather in Colorado. 11.5 total. There's going to be a lot of Mets in lineups today. And Kyle Freeland is averaging 33% more fantasy points at home, and he's been excellent lately. 3.65 FIP, 3.56 ERA, has shown some strikeout upside lately. He's been better at home. Now, the Mets absolutely crush lefties too, so something's got to give here. But, it's really hard to figure out if you want to go with the chalk Mets and go against Freeland or hope that this way he's been pitching lately kind of holds on together. Behind Freeland, there's a terrible bullpen too, so there's many, many outs for the Mets to get it done. But I don't think you can fade the Mets. I'm not saying to use Freeland, but it is a very tough situation here. Mets are going to be super high owned, as they should be with this type of hitting weather. Now let's go to FanDuel for the pitchers. Our highest owned pitcher, Luis Castillo, as he probably should be. I think he's in a great spot. Luis Gil, this ownership is going to be totally different. That game totally could be PPD'd. If it's not PPD'd, there's delayed chances. So Gil is going to be a hard one to really click today. Sonny Gray, I think he's in a great spot. He is our highest projected. He is near the highest for consensus. He's a little less owned. I think he is in an amazing spot, and I don't mind taking him. Pablo Lopez as well. Those two pitchers are very, very interesting to me. And then if you want a little discount, you can go down to Shato, which at only 7% owned, I am very, very intrigued with. Tyler Mahle, he's super cheap on FanDuel. Hard to really know what to expect here. He's been good in the minors in his start so far, but it is his first start back in a tough spot, so I don't really love going there. But that's pretty much the wrap up here. You could go Grayson Rodriguez too, but at 10.3K, I think I'd rather just go one of the guys, getting a little more ownership. I don't think that G-Rod really separates himself that much in this spot. If I get some of them, I'm fine with it, but I'm definitely not trying to get a ton of him. So let's check out some stacks on DraftKings now. All right, our highest ceiling, we got Yankees. Obviously, this one might not play, but it is against Davis Daniel, who has been decent in his, few starts. 3.93 ERA, 4.1 FIP, 4.3 FIP. Don't mind picking on him if this game plays. Yankees have been hot. They're a great offense. All works good. Boston versus Seth Lugo. Seth Lugo has been very good. Now, the thing here is that Boston absolutely crushes righties, so something's got to give there. Don't love that Boston offense versus Lugo, but with how good they are to righties, I'm a little interested. Oakland now are getting Jonathan Cannon, who we thought they were going to get yesterday. I like the spot for Oakland quite a bit. I don't mind trying to pick on some Jonathan Cannon here. It's just the hitting environment in Oakland is nowhere near what it is in Colorado. So I do like some Oakland, but it's going to be very hard to get away from some Colorado and even Atlanta bats with the weather going on there. But Oakland is definitely one of the pivots I am extremely interested in, as I was yesterday. And let's go to the highest owned stack. It's going to be the Mets. We know it's going to be the Mets. It's a Colorado game with great hitting weather. And we have Met high 80% owned. I wouldn't be surprised if they were even higher than that when the cards flip over later. Mets have been hitting decently. You get almost 90-degree temperatures and double-digit winds blowing out in Colorado. And it's hard to really tell you to fade that one. The only thing I got to say is Freeland has been good lately with the 3.62 FIP. And it's really over like his last 5 or 7, 8 starts, not just his last 5. So it's a great spot, you know, and it's going to be a pivotal one for your lineups today, figuring out how you want to battle that game in particular. We haven't had a slate like this in a while where one team is going to get so much more ownership than everybody else. Mets versus Freeland, also on the highest projected. I got to say that Colorado should be up here also. I don't think Severino's that good, and it's the same hitting environment. And Mets, you know, just all over the highest projected. They are going to project super, super well today. They're going to make a ton of lineups. I know we have them at like the highest one at like 88%. I would not be surprised whatsoever if they're well over 100. Even on an 11-game slate that could be a 10-game slate after Yankees PPD. Now our highest value, we got the White Sox versus Ross Stripling. That's fine. Stripling's just kind of a average, slightly below average pitcher. Don't mind trying to pick on them, but this White Sox team has just been terrible. Oakland versus Jonathan Cannon. I like some Oakland. I was all on Lawrence Butler yesterday, and I think I will be having a decent amount of them again today. Dodgers versus Christopher Sanchez. Sanchez has been a very, very solid pitcher, but he's way worse on the road. So I think you got to be a little interested for some Dodgers stacks, especially with Freddie back in that lineup. And let's check out the teams here so we can get a full look. So highest implied run total, we have the Mets. They're at 6.1. 0.7 lower is Colorado. Colorado is going to go under-owned and have very similar hitting conditions as the Mets. Well, not similar, the same. So I think they are firmly in consideration here. Now, this Yankees game may not be here, so we might be going from a 6.1 implied total and a 5.4 implied total all the way down to 4.8 being the next. Now, that is a decent drop-off, which just shows how much ownership should be on that Colorado game. I think Atlanta is a fine spot. There's decent hitting weather. Colin Ray has been pitching very, very well lately, but he does have a 4.5 FIP over his last 20, so maybe that turns around today. Oakland, 4.8 versus Jonathan Cannon. That bullpen's terrible behind him. I'm definitely interested. Baltimore, Chris Bassett has got lit up lately, so Baltimore makes some sense completely. Jackson Holliday's hitting well. That offense can really put up some numbers. The bullpen behind it's bad. KC versus Boston. You never really know what you're going to get from Brian Bello, but he does give up hard contact, high average exit velocity. The bullpen's meh. Houston, Tyler Molly's first start since, beginning of 2023, and there's a poor bullpen behind him, so Houston makes some sense as well. And once we start getting under Houston and the Dodgers, these implied run totals really start going down. There is still interest in taking some Philadelphia, some some Dodger stacks, some Texas, some Seattle, but I'm going to be a lot more selective under that spot. You could go to Detroit for a leverage stack, but I really don't love these stacks in this situation. On a slate where there's an 11 games, the leverage isn't quite as important, but obviously still is a little bit. The main thing on this slate is, what do we do with the Colorado game? How do you want to play that game? Do you want it to fail? Do you want it to go nuts? You kind of decide there. Make your lineups accordingly. Good luck, guys. Please like, comment, and subscribe to the video. And I'll be back tomorrow. Peace.